In this weekly Power City live stream, we'll be looking at the latest in the crypto and DeFi space and getting into the latest with our DApp development. So with no further ado, I'm joined by another one of the founders of Power City, the long vacation this week.
Greetings, Matt. How you doing today?
Good to see you, LV. Thanks for joining us. Normally it's me and Jesse, but it's nice to mix it up sometimes and find out what's been going on with your side. Obviously, a lot's been going on in the States with the elections. We've seen a bit of a pump. What's your take on it so far?
Yeah, so lots changed in the past week. And, as we can see, the markets have reacted, right? So regardless of, how you may have voted, if you're in the States, it looks like the crypto markets are happy with the results. And, if you look back to what, Donald Trump was, presenting back in the Bitcoin conference in 2024, when he was presenting earlier this year, there were some promises that were made that I guess folks are really getting excited about now. So you can see, in the charts there, I mean, everything's up, right? A lot of things are up and the markets are definitely getting a little frothy at the moment. Is this a long-term, trend and we're never going down again? No, right? I mean, I obviously there's a lot of excitement, but in my opinion, we're still so early in this process, right? Inauguration's still almost 70 days out. Nothing's going to change between now and then, other than what's already in progress, right? And then hopefully, after that, you start to see what this new administration may or may not do, how many of these things they may or may not be able to bring to fruition. The one thing that I know a lot of folks are excited about, that I'm, definitely hope we see happen in one form or another, is changes in the SEC. The SEC has been the main driver in a lot of frustration in the markets, right? With the lack of clear, regulations and rules for crypto within the states. They're using lawsuits to define policy, in a sense, which is just a very aggressive way of going about trying to control the markets. Are they wrong that crypto has a lot of shady business in it? No. I mean, there are a lot of scams in crypto. So I personally, just me, believe that there is a place for regulation and rules within crypto, just like they are in traditional finance. And the way when I say that, I mean rules that are designed to keep people from being completely duped and robbed, like we see happening in parts of crypto every day, right? I mean, it's just the reality of crypto is like, yeah, there's a rug pull, there's some inside scam, there's something else that happens, an inflation glitch in some protocol, yada, 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 whatever you want to call it. There is, loss after loss after loss in these markets, which makes, the honest players, start to kind of look bad by association, right? And I think that's kind of how we got into this situation with the SEC, where we are today. The problem is, crypto is a lot more than that. And, if you look at what Power City's been doing, we've been building a lot of protocols that are designed, to provide lending and staking and yield, like real utility on chain, and not just trying to ride memes. They're not financial games and gimmicks and things like that you see in other places. So, I think the removal of Gary Gensler from the head of the SEC is probably the one thing we'll see happen probably sooner rather than later. His term is up in June of next year anyway, but I have a feeling that he might be, let's just say, encouraged to step down a little bit sooner than that. And, then probably bring someone else in. Now, what does that mean? It's still going to take quite a long time for meaningful regulation to come to fruition out of whoever takes his place, right? They have to change their policies, their procedures, and how they want to do things internally, define their approach, get feedback, et cetera, et cetera. So don't expect new regulations to occur, overnight. But I do think the outstanding lawsuits, we might see a good number of the fraud-based lawsuits, like what was brought against Richard Hart, to perhaps be either settled or dropped. The ones that are not very clear, that they're just basically throwing darts, trying to say, hey, you're a fraud, you're a fraud, you're a fraud, you're a fraud, and just basically trying to regulate the industry that way. I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of these start to just, they're going to back away from that approach. And unless they have really clear evidence of actual laws being broken versus like a whiff of something being wrong, they might pursue things, but I have a feeling they might back away from some of that. So hopefully we'll see, a more open, accepting atmosphere from them, and I think that'll have a really positive impact on things. I mean, if you look at just Pulse Chain, if you see Richard Hart's lawsuit go away, now that opens a lot of things for people to feel a little more confident about coming back into this whole ecosystem and embrace it again, right? So the sooner that happens, the better, I think, for everybody. But we'll have to see how long that process takes.
Yeah, I'm with you there. We definitely want to see some more discernment from the SEC where they don't tar everyone with the same brush, right? Because obviously a scam coin that's created out of thin air and then rug pulls is completely different to an audited DeFi project that, like our PowerCity dApps, they provide value both ways. People use them, they pay a small fee, and they're using something like Flex or Earn or Portal X Swap, and they're getting value there. So hopefully we'll see that. And there's many people watching this, I'm sure, who aren't massive Gary Gensler fans. So I'm sure it'd be quite happy to see him go either in the short term or, like you said, in June next year, his term's up anyway. So hopefully we have someone appointed who's more open-minded.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I mean, I don't think it'll be. Well, I mean, we'll have to see who they appoint. I don't know if there's been too many names bandied about on like who the next person might be. I don't know if Trump has someone in mind that he's going to pick out for that role or not. There's obviously a lot going on, and just getting his administration set up and ready to go for day one. So I'm sure that'll come eventually. Some of the other things he had talked about at the conference, though, I personally am not sure how real they may or may not become, right? And I'm, just call me a skeptic, only because big moves take time, right? So one of them was to create a government stockpile of Bitcoin, and maybe even to potentially start using Bitcoin to pay off government debt or something like that, right? So to have like part of our national reserves in both gold and digital gold Bitcoin. The government does have some Bitcoin already. Is that part of what's been confiscated from different lawsuits and things? Yeah. Are they going to hold it long term? I don't know. And I don't think we should be holding our breath for that to happen. If these things do occur, obviously that's extremely bullish for crypto and for Bitcoin itself. So by all means, that's a great thing, right? If those things come to pass. But I wouldn't expect them to happen overnight. I wouldn't expect that to be like the number one thing on the agenda to get done. So, we'll see, and we'll believe it when we see it, is my approach, at least.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of politicians, whoever you support, they always like to obviously lay it on thick before the election to get people on their side. A lot of times things don't come to fruition, but, we hope that everything's crypto positive. Well, I mean, Trump's definitely more crypto positive than the last administration. So, yeah, but like you said, 70 days, right, until his inauguration?
Yeah, roughly. So between now and January 20th. So I think the third thing he mentioned at the conference was actually, kind of coincidental. He said, blocking the Fed from creating a CBDC. I think the House had already passed a bill for that back in May of this year. So the Senate, I'm not sure if that's actually been signed into law, but hopefully that's something they can pick up then and make law so that basically to prevent the U.S. creating their own centrally managed digital coin managed by the Fed or the Treasury or something like that. So that's a TBD, and see where that goes. Again, it's probably on a very long list of things, and we'll see based on everything else where that falls in the big list of priorities, right?
Definitely. Well, a rising tide definitely lifts all ships. And as we can also see in the Pulse chain ecosystem, we've had quite the pump as well. Hex up 15% in 24 hours, PLS up 7.75%, and PulseX up nearly 7%. So for now, I think everyone's enjoying the green days. We've had enough of the red days. So it's nice to see that. But talking about CBDCs, the opposite of that is going to be something like you get in the Flex protocol or the Earn protocol, like HexDC or PXDC. So choose your stable coins carefully, you know, or choose your, choose what you want to use, whether you want to be in a protocol which is decentralized, audited, or, you know, even holding a, you know, there's stable coins out there that, you know, have stood the test of time so far, but still, you know, stuff like USDC or USDT, we still don't know how that's going to pan out long term, right?
Yeah, and you know, I think that's one of the things that hopefully we'll see once the SEC gets organized is some clear regulations around stablecoin management, right? So, you know, set some rules and have some standards that you would want USDT or USDC or any centralized, you know, actual US dollar backed coin on what they have to do, right? And I think, you know, that's a very reasonable thing to ask. As far as, you know, something that is algorithmically backed, and I say that, and I just want to clarify, you know, asset backed, but not by a U.S. dollar, right? And backed algorithmically, meaning that automatically will liquidate vaults, and that, you know, that go below their value to ensure that the stablecoin always maintains its peg, right? That type of algorithm. These types of protocols, like, you know, Flex, Earn, Liquid Loans, Liquidity, etc. You know, I think these are different animals because you're using non-US dollar assets, right? Crypto assets to back them, and you know, then there's the question of, like, is there any regulation that may or may not come around those? And we just have to wait and see what they say. The nice thing is these protocols are immutable. We couldn't shut those off if we wanted to, right? The only way to shut it off is for every validator on the chain to stop validating. So, you know, only until that day comes will these protocols stop running. Until then, there's nothing that can stop you from accessing them. You know, their contracts will always be there on the network.
Yep. And with our dApps running, you know, Flex and PortalX Swap, another one of our, well, the hub of the PowerCity ecosystem is the core here. And we can see that day after day, that rewards pool is ticking up as people use the dApps. So at the moment, we have obviously Flex, Earn, PortalX Swap, Amplifier for the Liquid Loans protocol, which is currently out. And also we're very close to Amplifier for the Earn protocol, correct?
Yes. So we were in our final round of testing for that. And I gave a development update in our Telegram last week, just kind of explaining to folks, we've been through many rounds of testing to make sure that the amplifier for Earn and all the strategies are working properly, that the automation process is working properly, et cetera. We're in our final round of testing on mainnet before we can then, you know, make the protocol available for everyone to use. And then you'll be able to run the exact same strategies and capabilities and automation that you do for Liquid Loans, but for Earn protocol instead. So we're very excited to have that coming very soon. The amplifier for Flex will take a bit longer. There are certain complexities in the code that will have to be adjusted because of, well, just to get a little geeky about this, when you create an ERC20, one of the factors in creating it is defining the number of decimal places any position in the token uses, right? So in the case of Hex uses 8 decimal places, I think, whereas a lot of other tokens use, say, 12 or 18. So, I mean, it's a little bit different than the standard, which just means that the math internally within the contracts and the code has to know to adapt to that properly, because strangely enough, the programming language used to program these contracts doesn't understand decimal places. You actually have to divide by so many zeros to get to a final number that you would display on screen. It's very counterintuitive when you actually hear about it, and it's just one of the many hoops that you have to jump through to properly design systems on blockchains today. So, hopefully someday we'll have better languages to develop blockchain and crypto applications within. But for now, it is what it is. And it's just more complicated with the process. And, we are always very thorough. We're not going to release the system until we know it's working properly. So it's just going to take a little bit longer for Amplifier for Flex to come along. But that development will really start in earnest after Amplifier for Earn is launched. What you did already have up there as well is just a reminder that, Pixel Park is still a thing, right? Our NFT marketplace. And we are still working on that in the background. So we actually have, multiple developers and teams of developers working within PowerCity. And we have one group that's focused on Pixel Park, making adjustments in the last round of updates. We've been through many phases of development. And this last phase, hopefully will get us to then our final round of testing and audits to be able to bring that to market. We're not going to mention dates or timeframes until we're closer. We don't want to get everyone's hopes up and then keep moving the goalpost. So, but just know that there is work being done every week on this, actively being worked on. We haven't forgotten. We haven't backed away from it. It's just taking longer than we had ever expected, and these things are massive developments. NFT marketplace is much larger than a lending protocol. I'll say that.
Yep, for sure. Going back to this tab, which has been live for a while, the Amplifier Yield Compounder for liquid loans. Just to reiterate, obviously there are certain strategies and 4 pre-selected strategies that you can choose from, but for the Earn Amplifier, it's going to be Pulse X Stacker and Pulse X, passive Pulse X strategy. And for the Flex protocol, it would be Hex Stacker and passive Hex strategy. So they're the same strategies, right? But just for the chosen lending protocol, correct?
Correct. The same concepts, the same, execution, steps for the strategy. It's just, the token names have changed from protocol to protocol, but it's the same concept applied to one lending protocol versus the other. The nice thing is once you get all of them up and running, if you're using all 3 platforms, you can set them on autopilot and then just come in and check your rewards, from the time to time. And, hopefully with, the market coming back, we'll see folks kind of doing more work on Pulse Chain as PulseX and Hex on Pulse Chain go up in value. There's greater value in your vault to take larger loans, right? So it's something to check from time to time. Is if the market's moving, come back and check your vault. You might be able to take a larger loan. You might be able to put that stable coin in the stability pool. You might be able to put it in liquidity on PulseX or the PHUX protocol and be able to earn trading fees on that as well. So there's a lot of different things you can do with those stable coins if you're not looking to just exit that value off chain to go pay bills or something like that. And, we're going to be doing some sessions, over the next few weeks, I think, talking about some of these opportunities to let everyone know, some of the different liquidity pools that are out there, how you can earn fees on those, how you can try to manage your risk by providing liquidity in stable coins versus in things that change value greatly. So there's a whole concept of impermanent loss, which is an issue when you're providing liquidity, say, in any kind of Uniswap V2 type of DEX like PulseX. But if you're stablecoin to stablecoin, you don't experience those impermanent losses, because these are like value things. So there's a lot of ways that you can participate in the systems, leverage the systems, and put your collateral to work for you. So you're earning yield while you're also waiting for the market to go up, and then be able to make a decision on what you want to do with your collateral. So I think there's a lot that we can talk about in the coming weeks to, how to take Amplifier and even amp it up further.
Amplifier up further. Let's do it. Let's do it. Well, as the markets, seem to be going in the right direction, and let's say, we're going to have a bull market at some point, right? A real bull market. Everyone should stay safe. And I just made a video on this recently, but if you're ever unsure about what the link for our dApps, the real link, nothing dodgy, come to our website, which is powercity.io, hit apps, and then you can see all of our live and coming apps down here. And to launch any of our apps, you just hit the launch button. For example, I'd hit Portal X Swap here. I'd launch that, and then that would bring us through. So, you have to be careful in crypto. Either people pretending to be admins in groups, people giving you dodgy links, pretending to be support. So we want you to stay safe. So for any of our dApps, which at the moment, just to reiterate, we have obviously the core, the staking platform, Portal X Swap, Earn, and the Flex protocol, Amplifier live for liquid loans, and obviously Pixel Park's coming, so you can't launch that. But for any of these 5 dApps, you can come in here and press the launch button, and you'll know for sure that you're going to the right dApp. So always good to stay safe. But that's good, LV. Thanks for coming on today to just chat about the markets and give us a bit of an update with Earn protocol, the amplifier for Earn. So yeah, I appreciate your time. I know you're a busy man, and it's good to help Jesse out while he's away.
No, I appreciate it. And I want to reiterate what you said as far as be safe out there. Don't chase every meme. Don't chase every, pumping price in the market. Don't be silly with your money. This is the time where we are in the market. Hopefully you've already positioned yourself and you're ready to just kind of ride the wave, right? If you haven't bought what you want for the bull, buy it now, because, once things start moving, the prices could be moving against you, and you don't want to be chasing prices. You want to be able to buy when it's low, and then, set your targets, take your profits when you say you're going to take profits. Don't let emotion drive your trading. So it happens to everybody. And if you want to see an emotional marketplace, look at crypto. It's crazy. And, this is one of the ways that I think the market is starting to evolve is, we saw the crazy highs and lows, one, because the crypto market was smaller, right? So a smaller market cap means you can have more volatility, but also, you don't have the institutional money in here yet, which is more structured, and they'll follow their investment plans, and they're not going to be emotional about every decision they do, versus retail, which is, oh my God, number go down, I got to sell. Oh my God, number go up, I got to buy. And making all the decisions, which, in the long run are not always the best decisions. So, make your plans, lay them out, follow them. Do not let anybody pressure you into something you're not ready for. And now's the time to keep your money and save it through the market, and then make your moves as you planned. But, now's not the time to be silly, for sure. So.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, from what I heard in 2017, a lot of people became millionaires overnight and then rode it all the way down, right? Because they just thought it was going to carry on going forever. And as we've seen, like everything in life, crypto is secular too, right? There's cycles. And like you said, I think it's the best advice ever. Have your plans, know where you want to take profits or buy and sell or whatever. But people do love to chase green candles. So yeah, be careful.
It's human nature, sadly, and I get it. There's a lot of psychology in there, and that's why it's so important to lay out your plan when it's not crazy and emotional, right? When you can rationally take a look at, okay, people are talking, possibly 200 or whatever your target is for Bitcoin. Let's just use that as an example. Then okay, if you have Bitcoin now, where along that path between today and say 200, if that's where you feel the top is, where along that do you think you would want to take profits, and then say, okay, I'm going to sell X percentage at this price, X percentage at that price, and then so on and so forth. If you do that, you're guaranteed you have something in your hand at the end of the market, right? You don't want to be ride or die with crypto. I mean, unless you're in it for the super long haul, right? There's some people who want to have a bag that they're going to sit on for 20, 30 years. God bless you, right? Fine. Set it aside. Don't look at it. Hopefully you have it in an IRA or something like that where you don't, you have all the tax benefits for it. That's a whole separate discussion. But, you don't want to ride or die through this market and then realize like, oh, crap, I'm back down to like, 0 after seeing these huge highs. And I, got greedy and I waited and I was in disbelief as it fell, and it happens. It's,
paper gains and paper losses. I think, you just need to have a plan and execute, because if you've been in crypto or for a while, right, you've seen it, the ups and downs, and nothing is bear proof. Everything goes down in the bear market. So set your targets, stay logical, don't get emotional, and I think hopefully you'll be fine. But LV, I appreciate your time. Thanks for coming on today. And you have to come back on soon when you've got some more time.
Thanks a lot. You have a great night.
Thanks. And guys, for the real links to any of our dApps, you can find that below in the description box. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one.